Ah, that noisy rooster. Every morning he crows his happy good morning. Well, well, I have something that can cheer me up. Aren't they beautiful? This is not my finest hour of the day, but such views make it easier to get through the morning. The bathroom can easily be used as a car park if the cars have the right size. Otherwise, I do not have much to do early in the morning. And many say that excessive cleanliness is just nonsense. So, on my way to the kitchen, I can admire more beautiful objects. These cars give me inspiration to continue the day. Isn't it wonderful? And in this closet, my finest cars are parked. You see, I'm collecting cars. My father has inspired me to build and collect models. He was a trained mechanic and he repaired motorcycles in his young years and was a real handyman. His passions were steam engines and boats, and he built them himself. He also built my first model railroad. This boat my father built in the 1950s or 60s. Here is the entrance to the lounge. At the front of the bow there's a bedroom. Of course, the boat has a galley with drawers, cabinets and self-made cranes. There's a toilet too, and I'm particularly impressed that there is toilet paper available. It's a beautiful boat, and I'm happy that I still can admire my father's work. In this magazine from 1953, my father found an ad for drawings to a truck for me. My father ordered drawings and built the car in the basement. He put my name on the loading plane, and today, approximately 65 years after, the car is still operational. The loading plane could of course be tipped, and the rear wheels had a kind of spring mechanism. I'm very happy and grateful even today that I still have this car. I have to admit, I feel a bit sad thinking of a time that never will return. It was very nice when the Matchbox cars came to the Play stores in the 1950s and 60s. They just fit the size of this curly Lego plastic sheet. Here it is with old Lego blocks and houses from my first model railroad. This model of a Ford Cobra I built from a building kit I received for Christmas from a pen pal I had in the USA when I was 16 years old. She lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I remember. It was so nice to get something from America when the world was so big and America was so far away. In these two shoeboxes there are leftovers from models that have had a rather tough life. This Mercedes, however, lacks trunk lid, a wheel capsule and various other things, so we can forget this one, I think. This is a car that would show well in the traffic today. It is suitable for both cold and humid days with the canopy up, and also for sun and warmth with fallen cover. This is a jewel of a car. Bugatti has always made expensive cars, and today they only produce super fast and super expensive sports cars. In the early 70s, I wanted to build a model car with a combustion engine. I found a picture of the real car in an American magazine. First I made some drawings of the body and the undercarriage. And the completed result was not so very bad, I think. My father made sure that the exhaust pipe was chromed. He made a flywheel with gears that were connected to the drive wheels. The front wheel suspensions were quite simple, I'd say. The bodywork was made of plywood and it was stiffened up with thin strips. I'm really glad the car never started, because then I guess it would be a wreck today, I'm afraid. In the 70s and 80s I had become dad both 1 and 3 times, and I should have enough to do. But then I got the idea that I wanted to build big models with many details. The boxes have been in the attic for over 30 years and are a bit dusty. When I studied the construction description, I did not quite realize they had the courage and ability to build these cars. But after all, I was 30-40 years young at that time. Before I made recordings to this film, I had to fix the cars a bit. Here the rear wing was completely loosened and the hose to the radiator had to be fixed. This Ferrari had trouble with the front wheel suspension. A spring had loosened. With a bit of fumbling, I got it fixed. In 1975 to 1981, Ferrari won 4 constructor and 3 drivers' championships in Formula 1. This Porsche is a racing version of Porsche 911 and was produced in about 400 copies in the period 1976 to 1977. This is a Porsche designed for racing only. It participated in racing from 1976 and a few years into the 1980s.
Bilene jeg har i 3 forskjellige skalaer. Dette er den minste, 1 til 24. Den mellomste, 1 til 18. Og den største, 1 til 12. Nå skal vi se litt på hva jeg har av denne type biler.
Italians are famous for good ice cream, good wines and fast sports cars with heavenly sound. Here are some fast representatives. Not so many can buy such cars, for example this one, but for a considerable sum of money, it's possible to borrow such a car for a day. Our son borrowed one, and me and my camera joined him for a ride. The ride was a great experience, but luckily the day ended. Such a car can be dangerous to both life, health and economy. We know that the Germans make great cars. When we bought a new car a few years ago, I bought a model that was similar to the one we had ordered. When we had got the car we waited for, I wanted to make the model the most similar to the original. I had to change the wheels which I found on eBay. The brake calipers had to be painted red like the ones on the big car. That was quickly done and they looked pretty nice. The interior had to be painted to make it cream colored. Finally, I took a picture of the number plates and printed them from my computer. And here is the result.
Da jeg var liten, så kjøpte far masse blader med teknisk innhold. Blant annet var det bilstoff. Det synes jeg var greit. Jeg synes de svære amerikanske bilene som det stod mye om, det var midt i blinken. Og ikke minst utseendet var jo noe helt annerledes enn det som ellers vi så.
American cars are so different. Everything from giant vehicles to smart sporting cars. Here is a tiny selection of some old models. It's particularly nice to collect models that have a certain history link, such as this Buick Roadmaster 1949 model that featured in the movie Rain Man. Lately, I've been interested in some really exclusive car models. They are of a much higher quality and have more details than I could ever imagine. The car often consists of more than 1,500 to 2,000 parts, and that they are built in China is hardly any bomb. At all, they are amazing models. This Jaguar won the Le Mans 24-hour race in 1955, 1956 and 1957. A 6-cylinder 3-liter inline engine ensures good speed. This car won the championship in Formula 1 in 1952 and 1953. All filler openings can be opened on all models. Here we can first see kind of an X-ray of the car, and then we can see all the great details hiding behind the bodywork. The pedals can be moved, there's a physical connection between the gear rod and the gearbox, all bolts, cables, pipes and joints, yes, all the details are included in the model. It's a dream come true to possess such pearls. And all models can of course be controlled via the steering wheel. So what does these models mean to me in the practical life? Well, if I'm making oatmeal, for example. So while the oatmeal cooks, and there's often oatmeal for dinner for those who have this kind of hobby, I look at my cars and really enjoy possessing these amazing models. The danger is that I completely dream away. That may be scary.
Så hva er da vitsen med å samle på alle disse bilene? For meg gir det en glede. En glede å se på dem. En glede å se på hvordan ting har forandret seg. Se for eksempel på denne Forden fra 1940. Han hadde i hvert fall reservehjul. Det er ikke alle biler som har det i dag. Men gleden av å eie det er mye av det som er grunnen til at jeg holder på med dette. Og det er mer enn nok for meg. Så sånn er det bare.